This is Andy Orm from O'Reilly Media, and I'm talking today with Ida Justa, who is actually a much more accomplished interviewer than I am. She's a professional journalist, and she's now leading a project in Kenya to train journalists to use data in healthcare and other areas.
Hi, nice to speak to you.
I have to give you my condolences for what happened at the mall earlier in the week, and I know you know people there who died.
Yes, it was really tragic. Kenya is still in the grips of this, of coming to terms with it, and I think it will affect Kenya forever, for many, many years to come, because it was completely beyond the scale of anything that could be expected. There have been terror attacks in recent times, but this has been really horrific.
Let's turn to what you're doing with journalism, because I think journalism is going to be playing a very big role in Kenya, and it's been important, especially since there was a new government, and I understand a new open data initiative. Can you tell us about the open data?
Yes, Kenya is able to be part of this big data and open data discussion because of a new initiative. 2 years ago, a platform called CODI, or the Kenya Open Data Initiative, was launched. It was very progressive, and government departments were encouraged to post their data online. The platform also includes data from other open sources, especially a lot of health data, which is why there's a lot of relevance with the work that we do.
So can you give me an example of an interesting article or some interesting journalistic work that was taking place around the open data?
Yes, because of the availability of data on the site, and because of the training we do with journalists to help them kind of compare different data sources, build hypotheses, etc., they've been able to come to new conclusions. They, for instance, are able to look at data sets around schools and sanitation and girls' attendance at schools, coming to some kind of conclusion that if schools don't have toilets, girls are unlikely to go to school or more likely to drop out of school. Of course, it's a hypothesis only, and that needs to be checked back in the field and with other experts. Other stories relate to the fact that, for instance, family planning is a big concern in Kenya. The government has a very progressive strategy with family planning, and there are often assumptions that are made that are cultural, that are difficult to difficult to find traction around. But if data is there that shows that families are more prosperous, they're able to afford education for their children, to aspire to a different kind of lifestyle, which is what open data allows citizens to do, then it's easier for governments and for the Kenyan government to promote this family planning initiative.
So that's a good reminder. Those examples are both good reminders that a lot of data pertaining to health is not just the things we usually think of as patient data or health data.
Yes, a lot of the discussion here at Strata RX, of course, would in Kenya perhaps be termed vanity projects, where people can look at their diet and lifestyle diseases and input different biometric data in order to come to conclusions about their own actions that they should take or not take. But in Kenya, there are very large epidemiological concerns. We actually, what I'm really looking to learn from this conference is to look at how some of the vanity projects, how some of the individual lifestyle data applications can be applied in a more epidemiological sense.
I guess from that vantage point of the kind of problems Kenya is facing, it's easy to look at someone wearing a Fitbit as a vain sort of thing to do. But tell me some of the training that you give journalists. What do they need to do in this new era?
Because this open data movement is really new, and because many journalists in Kenya previously had no access to data, even data from dusty old file cabinets or data from government officials, their research contacts, professors at universities, there are very many new skills that journalists need to learn. In other words, how to understand academic writing, how to interpret academic journals, how to speak to professors who have the data, and in this case, since the data is online, how to build hypotheses. We've found that some of our training is quite basic about numeracy training, about getting journalists to ask difficult questions, sometimes perhaps even to stare at a really beautiful visualization, but to stare at it for a while and kind of think for themselves what it might mean, what it might imply.
Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
No, I think it's just that data journalism is a really new field. We are excited to be able to learn from other great institutions who are doing data journalism. We are also doing data journalism training, which adds a different dimension to it. It means that data scientists, data journalists, developers, technologists, visualizers all need to work together as a team and interact with the research and with the big data community in order to tell stories, because ultimately what matters for us is that citizens, the people of Kenya, the people of the world, also get to make meaning of this data.
I think it would help a lot of the Silicon Valley types interested in Strata to remember that journalists are part of the team, as you put it.
Yes, and we invite everyone to embrace that part of this communication chain around data.
Well, thank you for coming so far, Ida.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks
luck.
very much.